Hello, my name is Samantha, and I'm a certified makeup artist. And we're here with our beautiful model, Tina, and we're going to be doing some makeup on her today. We're going to go from a very chic look, ones that you can use or go to whenever you're going to brunch, or whenever you want to go to the grocery store, just so that you don't have a bare face, and we can build it up all the way to more of a glamorous look. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tone her face. And by toning her face, you can use any toner that is good for your skin. So if you have oily skin, you can find an oily skin toner. If you have dry skin, you can find a dry skin toner. And I like to put it on a nice cotton pad, just about I don't know, a nickel size. And I kind of just move it around, I kind of just move around a little bit. And I kind of get the whole pad saturated, so that the whole pad, whenever I rub it on her face, there's no dry spots. And then I like to go through the T-zone mainly. And once the T-zone is done, then I actually drag the toner downwards. You always want to go in a downward motion or in the same direction so that you can lay the skin cells down. And again, it'll help the makeup adhere and be more evenly applied. So I'm going to do that there. So now that I have her nice and toned, you have beautiful skin, by the way. All right. So now that I have her toned, I'm going to go ahead and apply some moisturizer. And again, if you have a preference on moisturizer, use that moisturizer on your face. You don't have to have $1 million moisturizer to get the same moisture. Just make sure it is good for your skin and you don't have any allergies to it, of course. So I just get a couple of scoops of our moisturizer on our palette here. I do use a palette because I don't like to double dip whenever I am applying makeup, because I do it on multiple different people. But if it is your own, of course, just put it on your face as you normally do. I am going to apply the moisturizer with a brush. So I'm going to grab me a good brush here. And then I'm just, again, just like I was with the toner, I'm going to start in the T-zone and I'm just going to drag it down just so I can make sure I'm going in one direction, so that when I do apply the face makeup, it does adhere evenly. Make sure you get underneath the eyes. And we will be priming her eyelid, so you can actually avoid the eyelid area if you need to. If you find yourself, you get a little sweaty and it kind of creases sometimes whenever you do your eyeshadow, you can avoid the eyelid area because we'll prime it and it'll still get an adequate amount of moisture. All right, so now that we are really hydrated, we're going to prime the face. So the difference between moisturizer and primer. So moisturizer will do just that. It'll moisturize and get the skin ready to go. And the primer will actually prime your face if you have any texturizing or blemishes, or if you have large pores. This will help minimize the look of those. All right, so we're going to prime her face. And again, I'm using a good primer. Whatever primer is good for you for your skin. They have different primers for oily skin, dry skin, skin that it'll help you blur some of the looks of pores and texture. So whatever's good for your skin. I am going to use a semi-blurring primer today. So just like I did with the moisturizer, I put it on my palette here. I'll dab it in, and I start working in the T-zone. So it might seem like you're putting a lot of product on the face prior to putting on foundation or BB cream, CC cream, stuff like that. But you want to make sure the skin is very hydrated. If the skin is dry and you're not having the primer on, it will show whenever you put on your foundation. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on her eyebrows. So whenever you're doing like an everyday look, you don't want your eyebrows, or if you're actually not used to doing your eyebrows, you don't want to make sure, or you want to make sure that your eyebrows just have a nice shape to them. You can use things from like a eyebrow gel all the way to an eyebrow freeze. They have new trends now where you can do soap brows or freeze your brows, things like that. But for an everyday look, we're just going to use a little bit of eyebrow gel to get the shape of her eyebrows. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use just a little tiny spoolie here. I love these little spoolies because they actually pick up all the little hairs. I do have a few different types of spoolies that I use, but this one works really good for eyebrows. So here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to just look at the shape of her eyebrow here, and she has great eyebrows. So what I like to do is I like to fan the eyebrow up so we can coat every last hair. And then I like to go right on top and give it a nice shape, just like that. And like I said, she has really nice full eyebrows, so not a whole lot needs to be done to her eyebrows. Now when we do a little bit of the beat look later on, I will show you how to define them a little bit more. But as of right now, a nice quick shape to them that will do the trick. We can keep them just like this, depending on the preference of the model or what event you're going to. But I'm going to kick it up just a little bit. You can also, we also have, let's see, I have a medium brown, which I think will work really good on her, or even like let's see, I don't think, oh yeah, maybe a black brown. Make sure you get the color that's best that matches your own hair. So I have a medium brown or a dark brown. These are what we call feather brow pins, and this can just fill in sparse areas that may just need a little touch up. There's also actual micro pins that you can do the same thing with too. So I think I might go with a little combination of both. And then you also can use a pomade. Pomades are available. There's all kinds of different products that you can use. But today I'm going to use the feather pin and an actual micro pin. So to do so, these ones are very thin at the tip like this, and you can just come in here and just actually fill in just a little sparse areas that you see just might need a little bit more definition. And I like to do that just to give, like I said, just to give it just a little bit more definition. And you can actually shape it the way you like. And then I'm going to use my micro pen just to give a little bit more definition. So the micro pen is more of like a crayon-esque texture. It's a little bit thicker. It's not as light as that micro pen, the feather pen. But this one also gives a lot more coverage. So if you need it to actually be a little bit more defined, you can do that. I'll have you put your head straight for me. Thank you. So this one you can actually create more shape with if you need to. And again, I'm going to use that same spoolie and we're going to brush it out just to make sure that it looks as natural as possible. And remember, there's a little saying in the makeup world, your eyebrows are sisters, they're not twins. So if you're ever starting to get frustrated doing your eyebrows because one doesn't look like just like the other, remember, they're not going to. Unless you're like really, really good at putting them on and drawing and shaping them. But a lot of times your natural brows are not exactly the same. You want to make sure that you get them as close as possible. Now there's another way that you can add more definition into the eyebrow, and I'll probably talk about or show you a little bit more examples of this later, but you also can use powders to add a little bit more definition to the eyebrow as well. But I think for right now, for just the daytime look, an everyday look, I think we're doing pretty well. We're going to carve out her eyebrows a little bit to just give them just a little extra oomph. So I do have a Makeup Forever, this is actually a foundation palette, but I use it a lot for concealer. Now with the undertones, you have like either a cool undertone, a neutral undertone, or a warm undertone. And I can already tell just because I am a makeup artist, she has a very warm undertone, probably neutral to warm. But usually you can tell by the color of the veins in your arms, and you can also tell if you go into the sun and you burn right away, or if you tan and then burn, or if you just completely tan and you never burn. So that can also indicate the different style or the different undertones that you have, whether you're going to be neutral, warm, or if you're a little bit more cooler. But I already, like I said, I already know she has a more warm undertone, so I'm actually just going to make her a couple of a customized color here. All right, so here I have a few colors that I mixed, and I'm actually gonna mix those together really good. And again, with some of this foundation and some of these products that you get from the store, a little does go a long way. Now, if you're wanting something kind of like a spot cream, or you really don't even feel like you need foundation, because to be 100% honest, she doesn't need foundation. Her skin is beautiful. But if you're one of the gals who don't really like to wear really heavy foundation, this is always a good time where you can get the color of foundation that you bought from the store or wherever, and you can mix it with that remaining primer or your moisturizer, and it'll shear out your foundation so it's not so heavy on the skin. Also too, your skin will adhere to it a little bit better as well. So just remember, just because you have a full coverage foundation doesn't mean it has to be full coverage. You can lighten it some. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a concealer brush here. We're going to take it and we're going to see if this matches her. And I think I'm going to go just a hair darker, just a little bit darker. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab just a little bit more. I added just a little bit more pigment to it. There we go. I think that might be the trick there. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so now I'm just going to pick up a little bit on my brush, not a whole lot, just a little bit. And I can go ahead and I can give her eyebrows a little bit more detail just by carving them out with this concealer that I just created. And by doing that, it'll give the eyebrow just a little bit more shape. And I like to do this too, just because I know people, you know, they really want their eyebrows to look like the other one, and this actually gives that illusion that both your eyebrows are shaped very similarly. Remember, when you're doing your makeup, the one thing you always want to consistently tell yourself is trust the process. Because there's going to be times when you're doing your makeup and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? This doesn't look like it looks on the TV or on the videos. Now again, when we do the foundation, I will blend the foundation up all the way into the concealer, so a lot of this stuff will be nicely blended together. And you'll see me, I usually go back and I retouch and I retouch and I retouch, because as you're doing any kind of artwork, you can see something, and then as you step away, or like let's say you're focusing on the eyes, you'll look back to the last thing you did, like the brows, and you'll notice something, oh, maybe I forgot a spot, or maybe I need to touch up a spot. So just remember, you can work in layers as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to prime her eyes. You can use a good eyeshadow base. You can use that if you have a little extra primer left on your brush, you can use that as well. But usually if you're doing like a nice color or some kind of transition into an eyeshadow, you probably want to use something so that the eyeshadow will adhere to it a little bit better. So I'm just going to take this little brush here, this little fluffy brush, and I'm just going to get very little eyeshadow primer. Go ahead and close your eyes for me. And I'm going to prime her eyes, and you can just buff it right into the eyes. Another thing that you want to actually think about too whenever you're starting your eye makeup is your eye shape. Everybody has different eye shapes, okay? So just because you see somebody on YouTube or whatever other platform that you see them do a certain look and you can't figure out, why can't that look go on me? Why can't I have the cat eye? Why can't I have this? You need to learn what your eye shape is. There's round eyes, there's almond shaped eyes, there's all kinds of different types of eye shapes. So knowing your eye shape will help you tremendously when you're starting to apply eyeshadow or even eyeliner. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go in with a very nude or neutral looking color. So I do have a couple of different palettes here. I have this one. This one is from Patrick Tall. It has a lot of warm and neutral colors. It also has some cream colors as well. Again, I am a makeup artist, so this one is used. Okay, I do use this very often. But you want to get a color that's close as maybe a shade or two up from your actual natural skin tone. And we're going to use that as a transition color, and we're going to put it right in the crease of your eye here. So again, I'm going to go one with a fluffy brush. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is just a transition color. But you just want to just kind of, you can pat it on, or you can do a windshield wiper motion. Okay, and I just like to, like I said, I like to do it right in the crease of the eye. Learn your products. So whatever products you have, you can, what we call a swatch it. You can swatch it on your hand. You can swatch it on the top or the back of your hand just to see if the color payoff. Because some products have a lot more payoff than others. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're dealing with prior to you putting it onto your face. Because if you have a color that has high opacity and you put it on your eye, it's hard to blend it out if it's super opaque. All right, so we got this all blended nicely in her crease. And since it is fall, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the fall theme. You can start playing with a little color. You can play with shimmer. It just depends on your mood. But today we're gonna do a little bit of color. So again, I have another palette here from Dominique Cosmetics. I'm gonna play with a little bit of cranberry. And one's called Warm Hearted, the other one's called Jaden. And I'm actually, what I like to call, I'm gonna do a little color cocktail. So actually, let me get a different brush. I'm gonna use a different brush here. I'm gonna do a little color cocktail. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually put a little bit of cranberry colors on here. I like to do a little color cocktail. So I'm gonna use this color right here called Warm Hearted and a little dab of Jaden here. And you always want to make sure you tap off the excess. I don't know if you guys seen that, but sometimes a little bit of excess eyeshadow comes off, and you definitely don't want that on your colors or on your eyelid because it can make it look real muddy real fast. And then it can fall out underneath the eye, what we call fallout, and it can actually make the skin discolored. So whenever you are putting on, or if you already put on foundation, it can ruin the look of the foundation. So you want to make sure you knock off the excess. And then I'm going to get this nice cranberry color cocktail, and I'm going to put it right in the outer portion of her eye, kind of going towards the middle. And if you need to dip in to get a little bit more, you can. Again, remember, knock off the excess. And if you notice too, you can always change the way you hold the brush. If you hold the brush more back here, you're going to have a lighter application. If you hold the brush a little bit closer, you'll have more of a more opaque application, and it's also a little bit more controlled. Also, you can use the bristles to your advantage. You can apply downwards and you can apply upwards as well, just to make sure that the color payoff is where you want it. And again, I'm not going to go all the way into the inner corner of the eye. I'm going to stay for the outer 2/3. All right, I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye. So I'm going to go in, grab a little color, knock off the excess. I'm happy to turn your head just a little bit. And then again, I'm going to start off at the outer portion of the eye. Grab a little bit more product and kind of move it a little bit more inwards. Awesome. Perfect. And then I'm gonna have you look straight and then open your eyes for me. You always want to make sure that you are opening your eyes and looking at and stepping a little bit back from the mirror when you are doing your makeup, because how you're seeing it close up versus how you're seeing it far back will distort the look a little bit, and you can adjust it accordingly. Also too, how the makeup is applied with the eyes closed doesn't necessarily mean that's how it's going to look when you open your eyes. So you always want to make sure you are, if you're doing it on somebody else, have them open your eyes, or if you're doing it yourself, open your eyes just to see how the makeup is laying on the face. So she has slightly hooded eyes, but you can still see the pink kind of shining through here. So I'm going to close your eyes a little bit, or actually close your eyes, and I'm going to drag it up just a hair, just so that when her eyes are open, you can see that cranberry coming through. All right. So back in that same Dominique cosmetic palette here, there's a really pretty shimmery color, which I actually really want to add onto her eyes because I think it will look great with her skin tone. So you're going to grab another little brush here. So I'm going to grab another little, actually I'm going to use a packing brush here. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of this shimmer color. It's called Soul in this palette. Again, you want to knock off the excess, especially with shimmer, because you don't want it flying all over the face. Go ahead and close your eyes for me, and I'm just going to add it right in the inner corner section here, and then drag it towards the middle. So now you have like a two-tone effect. And the more you drag it in nice little small strokes, the more it'll blend. Just like that. All right, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, if you want the color to be more opaque or more deeper, like where it's a lot more shimmer, you can spray your brush with a little bit of setting spray or fixing spray, and that'll actually give you a more deeper payoff. But today, since we're going to start out with the light look, we're just going to do it nice and light. You can pat it, and by patting it, we'll also make the color more rich as well. And then you can do soft drags just to blend it in with that cranberry look. Perfect. All right, go ahead and open your eyes for me. All right, looks great. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of, I do like to darken the lash line a little bit. I think even on an everyday look, if you don't like eyeliner, that is completely fine. But if you darken the lash line before you put on a little bit of mascara, it'll give you that little deeper look, more va-va-voom with the eyelashes, your natural lashes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my Patrick Ta palette. There is some cream products in here. There's a black and a brown. And I'm just going to keep it real simple. I'm going to go with the brown because I feel like the brown will just give that enough deepness into the color that it will actually pay off just fine. So I'm going to grab my spatula, give it a clean. And you don't need very much, just a little bit. Close that guy up. And just like I was doing with everything else, I'm going to put it on my spatula, or my palette here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a eyeliner brush and just kind of drag and get it nice and saturated with that color. Alright, and I find too, if you twist your eyeliner brushes inside of the product, it helps keep the bristles together so you'll have more of a defined line. We're not necessarily looking for a defined line right now, we're just going to smudge this color in the lash line. So I'm going to have you close your eyes, and what I mean by that is right as closest to the lash line as possible. I'm just going to go right above it. And like I said, all this will do is just give a little bit more definition into the eyelash and the waterline here, or the upper waterline I should say. I might have made that up. The lash line, there we go. Alright. Here. And again, we're going to do the same thing, so go to open for me. Alright, and close. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Oh, I had you open a little too soon. There we go. Alright, have you turn your head. Now the trick whenever you're doing makeup on somebody else is you have to angle it differently in your hand. But that comes with lots of practice. On yourself, another quick trick that I think a lot of people don't know is if you're ever putting on eyeliner and you're trying to get one to match the other, remember your hand angle needs to match the other hand angle. So if you're putting on eyeliner on one eye and your hand is facing down, when you do the other eye, naturally your hand will start to rise because it's more comfortable that way. But remember, if you're doing it downwards this way, you need to do it downwards on the other side as well. Alright, so now we have that nice and dusted through her lashes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a small pencil brush, and that's this guy here, and I'm going to get a darker color. So again, sometimes I do a little color cocktail here, so I'll touch a couple different colors. That's just what I do. And then I use that same color, and then I'll come And right over that cream, I'll put the powder so that it sets it, so that it won't move and won't budge. So again, make sure you remember what colors to use. Perfect. And again, I'm going to grab some, just the darker one now. And I'm just going to make sure it's a little richer at the outer corner. Just so, because that's where you see like that little kitten eye effect, a little cat eye, just a little tiny, nothing crazy. And you can just drag that. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can just dab it on. So when she opens her eyes, go ahead and open for me. There we go. It has like a little bit more definition. And then sometimes if you see things that need to be dragged away, you can do so. If you see any kind of flaws or things that need to be corrected, you can grab your concealer brush and you can do that as well. But so far we're doing good. So we don't need to actually correct too much. So now what we're going to do is we're going to curl her eyelashes. So for the eyelashes, you can use many different kind of curling devices. They have just the traditional eyelash curler. They have some without guards on the side of them so that you can actually get a little closer. They even have heated ones nowadays. But the one I use, I like to use a little tiny guy like by MAC. And it's just because when I'm doing makeup on clients, I can actually go around the eye and it's a little bit more comfortable without me pinching them. So what I like to do is go ahead and close your eyes for me. And you can use a puff too if you don't want no transferring of the eyeshadow, but we're doing all right. And I just grab the eyelashes and I curl them. Just like that. So it's comfortable for your client and it's comfortable for yourself. There we go. And like I said earlier, sometimes whenever you're moving on to one spot, you'll see something you need to fix in another. So go ahead and close for me. When I had you open up a little bit earlier, it transferred just the hair, just your eyeliner. And now we can fix it. So sometimes that happens. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing with the other eye, but I'm gonna have you turn your head, close your eyes, and we're gonna do the same exact thing. Lift up just a little bit. Oh, sorry, keep your eyes closed. There you go. It's a little comfortable so it doesn't freak you out. There we go. And just like a second ago with that eyeliner, see how it kind of transferred a little bit? But if you get that same cranberry brush, you can blend that guy right on out. Just like that. And if there's ever time too where it doesn't blend out as easy, add a little bit more product because sometimes that happens. I mean, you're using product, so it does transfer sometimes. You could do things to prevent it, but sometimes it just happens that way. All right, again, I'm gonna get a mascara. So with this time, well, actually, I'm gonna use the same size spoolies. So remember earlier I was talking about different size spoolies. You have some, I have a silicone based one, which I'm not gonna use. And then I also have like the little fluffy, tiny, more detailed one. I typically go for the detailed one anyways. It's a little bit more easy for me to control. And then you'll get your mascara. Make sure you coat it nice and thick, and then you'll put it in there. And then we're gonna add, so go ahead and close your eyes for me. So what I like to do when I'm applying mascara, now again, it's a little bit different when you're doing it on yourself because you can put it on yourself. But if I'm putting it on somebody else, again, I have them close their eyes just like this. Again, I just put a little tug towards the eyebrow, and then I work it all the way up from the root to the tip. Now, if you get it underneath the eye on the skin, that is okay. We do have makeup wipes. That does happen. I just like doing it with the eye closed because it's a lot easier for your client. But if on yourself, of course, it's a little bit different. So you make sure you fully coat your eyelashes. And I did get a little bit on the skin, so hopefully y'all can edit that part out. There we go. All right. I have to walk on the other side, guys, because this one's a little bit different. Sorry. I'm gonna do it this way. I don't know if you'll have a different angle. double check. We're all brushed out. All right, go ahead and open for me. All right, we're doing good. So again, in that case that you do ever get a little bit underneath, because sometimes we'll make a little boo-boo and then we'll get it on our nose or something like that. The trick with mascara, honestly, is letting it dry and then wiping it off. But since we don't have any foundation on her, we can use a handy-dandy makeup wipe and just clean it on up. All right, so I'm gonna give our eyes a little bit of a break because I've been poking and prodding at our eyes for a second. We're gonna move on to foundation. So with foundation, you can use many different foundations. Today I'm gonna be using a tinted serum foundation. I do typically mix a lot of the foundations I use, but typically, if you're doing it on yourself, you know what color you are. There's lots of ways that you can get matched on foundation color. You can go to your local beauty store, they can help you out there. There's different quizzes you can take online. So if you ever need help getting the right color, make sure you go and visit a beauty store and they can help you out. And again, I like to mix a little bit of mine, so I'm mixing 2 different colors here. And when working on my palette, so I do have my palette here, I'll use that fluffy brush that I was using earlier for her concealer, and then I'll mix those together. And we'll do a little swatch to see how it looks on the skin, and it looks good to me. Now, I am a beauty blender person, so whenever you do put foundation on, it is always nice to apply it and then blend it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply the foundation onto her face. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just putting the product on. And at first you can be like, what? Doesn't look, that feels weird. But once we have the product laid down, then we can get the beauty blender and blend it all out. And you want to do it in a dabbing motion. You don't want to swipe it because then you'll see streaks. So if you do it in a dabbing motion, all that nice skin prep we did, it'll absorb it with that moisturizer and it'll make it look like skin again. So you want to make sure you do cover. Make sure you get towards the ears and towards the bottom of the neck. You get it all around the nose and the mouth. Again, you want to do underneath as well because you want to make sure it is definitely covered. And we're going to do it again. Oop. Make sure I didn't do that. I'm going to do it on this side as well. Have you turn your head for me? Thank you. Alright, so you just want to place it. And the good thing about using a fluffy brush like this, like I'm doing, when we go and conceal and we're doing our finishing touches, this guy will already have all of our color already on it. So if we need to add more color somewhere, define it, it's already prepped and ready for you. So that's why I like using a brush and a beauty blender. So like that. Now again, if you don't like really heavy foundation, this tinted serum is always a good option because it doesn't make the foundation super cakey, and as it starts to settle into the skin, it starts to look like skin. Okay, so I want to make sure I'll turn one more time just so I can make sure I got you full covered here. All right, and then you can blend it in with that coloring that we did for the eyebrows earlier. So I can actually use this brush again and just make slight patting motions next to the eyebrows so that there's no demarcation or different color or anything like that with the eyebrow color as well. And I can even, if I want to do some lightening of the under eye, I can dab into that concealer color that we used earlier. Make sure it's not super, super thick. So, and then we can have you look up to the sky. I can place it on both eyes. Now, if you want super, super, like a lot of coverage underneath the eye, you want to let your concealer set for a little while. It sounds weird, but the more it sets, the more coverage you'll get. If you want it very sheer and just to give you a little bit of coverage like she needs, just very little, you can blend it out right away. All right. And I'm gonna use the other side, and then I'm just gonna kind of go over it just so it's all blended together. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. Now the cool thing with like a serum-based foundation and stuff, it doesn't crease as much as like different kinds of products. So you can always set your eye as well with a little bit of powder to lock in the concealer and the foundation. I'm going to do that here in a second. Just be leery on the powders and stuff. If you want that dewy look, the powder will make your makeup look very matte very fast. So just a little goes a long way. There's good tricks to it as well. If you get like more of a rounder brush, let me show you real quick. So I'm going to add some of the powder to the lid. And if you get a rounder brush, you can apply the product, but spin it in the product. So now, instead of me just going straight on with the product, I can have her look up, and I can spin it on underneath her eye as well. And now I can just dab it on so that I can get it right where I want it, and I won't risk getting powder everywhere. Again, we want to spin it in the product, knock off the excess, and just spin it right where you want it. And typically it's the T-zone area that kind of gets a little shiny. But dewy is in now, so your skin looking hydrated is always a good look as well. So only make sure you put the powder where you feel you need it. If you have naturally dry skin, you might be able to skip this part. All right, looking good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add just a little bit of blush on the cheeks. So I do have, there's a couple of different kinds of blushes. You can have a liquid blush, or you can have a cream blush, or you can have a powder blush. I personally like liquid blushes a little bit better. I feel like they sit on the skin a lot better, so I'm gonna choose one that's closer to her skin tone. Just to give, again, we're doing the day look, so of course we want it just to complement her skin tone. And in here, again, we're gonna use our handy dandy palette, and you'll see it'll start to create a lot of color soon. And you just wanna add a little bit of that color. And you can choose, this is more of a peach toned blush. You can choose berry ones, darker ones, deeper ones. It's all a preference. And then I'm actually gonna use a brush here, this rounded brush as well, and I'm gonna grab some product, and I'm just gonna go towards the apples of her cheeks, a little bit towards her temples, and there we go. Just add it on and just pat it in. Again, remember, patting motion. All right, and again, it's just to bring a little bit of color back to the cheeks, and then I'll have you turn your head this way. Do the same thing on the other side. All right. And again, if you want to use a luminous blush, actually I might put just a little bit more on the other side. I feel like one side's a little bit more peachy than the other. So again, just add a little bit more to your palette. There we go. And if you ever feel like that you can see lines or where your blush ends and where your foundation stops, go back to your handy dandy beauty blender and just meet those two together. Blend those right on out, and it'll make it seamless. Perfect. All right. So now we're gonna do her lip. And with the lip, for a daytime look, we want to keep the lip pretty neutral. She has nice full lips, so and they're very hydrated, which is good. So what we're going to do is we'll just add a little bit of a nude color onto it with a nice sheer lip balm, and that should be enough coverage for a daytime lip. Sometimes some people like to wear bolder lips in the day, and that's a-okay. But for today's look, I think we're going to go more on the nude side. Let me see. I'll pull these two out here. So I have two different nude colors, and I think I'm gonna go with the second one here, just making sure. All right, and we're just gonna outline her lips. And again, like I said, she has lots of nice, oh, actually, I kinda don't like this color. Let's try a different one. And again, it's all a work in progress. So you wanna make sure that the colors are matching the skin tone and the look that you're trying to achieve. So I'm gonna go a little bit darker. Yeah, this one's a lot better. And I'm just gonna line the lips right around. Following the natural lip shape. I'm gonna turn your head, sorry. I'm trying to stay in one spot. All right. And then, so make sure. We can go in, and if we want to, we can mix a little bit of a lip color with some lip balm. So that's always an option. So I'm gonna get my handy dandy spatula here. Excuse me, my handy dandy spatula here. I'm gonna get a little bit of the color that I want to use. Just scrape it off. Put it on our palette, like so. And then we're gonna get a little bit of lip balm. And I like to use shea butter one. If you wanna use a glossy one, you can. You can make it into a lip gloss. But I like more of a lip balm for a daytime use, so it's just moisturizing to the lips. And then you just mix it together. So it'll sheer it out just a touch, but it also makes the lips feel nice and hydrated throughout the day. But if you have your favorite lip balm, lipstick, lip gloss, by all means, please use those. We're going to use a lip wand to apply the color. All right. This is like a cinnamony. Oh, I have a Q-tip lint. Sorry about that. Nice cinnamony color. Make sure you get the entire lip. It's funny because I tend to like move my lips like with my client as I'm doing it, like kind of like I'm feeding a baby. Just like, and there we go. Go ahead and rub your lips together for me. All right, and then we'll do some detail work here. So just make sure that it is all smoothed out. Now, if for whatever time, like if you're doing your own lips or somebody else's, and you see that you got kind of made a boo-boo, you can always get that concealer brush, and you can just line it right on up and take off any excess that you accidentally got on the skin. All right, lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of highlighter on the skin. Again, if you're doing a daytime look, you can skip this step, but this step to me is crucial. I like a little bit of highlighter here, so I'm using one by Fenty. This is more of like a shimmery highlighter, but you can load your brush up and just pat it right where the light will hit the face. So the high points of the face would be the temple area, your cheekbones, maybe down the bridge of the nose, and the Cupid's bow. So I'll turn your head this way. And a little bit on the Cupid's bow. I'm not a big fan of the Cupid's bow one too much, just because I don't like a whole lot of glitter on the lip, but is completely a preference. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a setting spray. So the setting spray is what I like to call hairspray for makeup. This will ensure that your makeup lasts all day. If you sweat, if you're in sometimes these setting sprays can get so good that you can go swimming in them. If you're doing some kind of water sport, or if it's just really humid outside, a setting spray returns the skin back to looking like skin, and it also locks everything in. So give this a good spray. It's a nice mist, I know. It's a little aggressive sometimes. And there you have it. You have a good daytime look to go to have brunch, to go to work, to have a day of shopping, whatever it is. This is what our daytime look looks like. What we're going to do now is we're going to kick it up a notch. So we're going to go to the beat look. So the beat look is for maybe date night, Christmas party, holiday parties, which is going to accentuate the your eyes a little bit more, give you a little bit more bold lip, a little bit more chiseled face if we need that for some contouring. So the beat look, like I said, will just deepen up the look that we currently have just to make it a little bit more va-va-voom. Okay, so like I said earlier, we did the very natural looking and skin looking concealer, so we're just going to add on to that. We're going to add on to it by we're contouring her face a little bit. So with the contour, there's two different options. You can contour with a powder, which I have a powder here, which I like to contour, and sometimes you can even just deepen it by putting a little bronzer. And you can also contour with some liquid contours. So I have a couple of different ones of those as well. Right now I'm actually just going to use a little bit of the liquid one just because we don't have a lot of powder on her face. We only set the T-zone areas, and what we're going to contour is actually going to be like the hollows of her cheeks, the temples, and the jawline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of liquid contour here. I'm going to go back to my handy dandy palette here, and we're going to add that on here as well. So I'm going to put a couple of dabs of this guy on there. And again, if you need to clean off your palette as you're doing this, please do so. If it's your own product, you can apply it straight to the skin. All right. And then we're going to add, I'm actually going to get an angled brush here, and I'm just going to pick some up here. So it's just a product up. And then I'm going to find her cheekbones. So the cheekbones, and you can use your finger, you can use the tip of the brush here, just to find where the cheekbones start, and you want to go right underneath there. And what I like to do is I like to find the cheekbone, and I like to push up. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that liquid contour here. And again, you can still use your handy dandy beauty blender, because remember, we did add blush on already, so that if you want to make it blend seamlessly, you can do so. So I'm going to add a little bit of contour there. I'm going to add some to the temples area and the top of her forehead here. And then again, we're using the patting motion here. We don't want to swipe it because then it'll leave swipe motions. I'm going to put that down for a second, return back to our handy dandy beauty blender, and it already has a lot of the foundation that we used earlier in the concealer. So now we can just use that and just kind of blend it all together just like so. If you wanted to, now remember, this is kind of going from chic to beat. So a lot of times we'll use our chic look and we'll go out in the daytime. We'll go do the things that we need to do, go for drinks, lunch, maybe go to the grocery store, and then maybe we have a gathering or something to do in the evening, and we already have makeup on. So this is the whole idea in that. So if we already have blush on because we've already gone out through the day, and the blush might have dissipated a little bit, you can always add more, okay? So I'm gonna go to the other side here. Again, I'm gonna start at the hollows of her cheeks. I'm gonna find her cheekbones here. And then I'm going to start here and drag down just a little bit, and then I'm also going to add to the forehead and the temples. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit more product there. And again, we're just pushing it into the skin. I do like to get close to the ears as well. Okay, you don't want to see any kind of transition of color. You want to make sure it's all seamlessly blended. And again, I'm going to do the same thing with the forehead. We're going to kind of press and drag down just a little bit, not a whole lot of drag, but just to move the product to where you want it. All right, now we did use the liquid contour, or you can even use a liquid bronzer if you like to, just because if maybe you're not contouring, maybe you just want to bronze and add some color back to the skin. You can, again, this is a good option. And then you can also use excuse me, you can also use a powdered one, which I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing in the same areas, but I'm just going to set it with a little bit of powder. And again, she doesn't need a whole lot because her skin is beautiful. So we're just going to lightly tap it, tap off our excess, and again, just touch it, just to mattify it, just the hair. So we'll set for the rest of the night. I'm gonna go on the other side and do the same thing. I'm gonna find where I put that liquid and do the same thing. And again, if you're starting to see a little bit of color differential, you grab your handy dandy beauty blender, this guy. Again, it has a little bit of foundation still left on it. And again, if you're going to from the night to day look, sometimes a beauty blender is not a good option just because it's probably already dry at this point. So then you can get a clean beauty blender, dampen it, make sure there's no more water in it, and you can do the same thing. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to deepen the eyes just a little bit. So now that we have a little bit more definition in the face, we're going to go to the eyes. It just depends on your own face too. If you want to contour the nose, you can do so. Contour the jawline, you can do so. But Lisa here, she doesn't need any of that. She looks good, and her face is nice and contoured already. So now I'm going to actually go to another palette, which has like a lot of different mauves and cool tones in this one. And I'm going to get a pencil brush. I'm going to have you close your eyes for me. And I'm going to deepen the outer V of her eye just to give it a little bit more of illusion of a smoke. So again, I like to do a little bit of a color cocktail. So I'm going to choose a deeper dark brown, and I'm going to mix it a little bit with a black. Okay, now don't be too scared of black. Just make sure you dust off all the excess. And all you got to do is literally tap it. Just give it a little tap. You don't need to do too much. And you just want to place it right where you want it to darken. So again, back in 2016, we called this our outer V. Now we call it just the outer portion of the eye. So I'm going to actually drag this up just a little bit. Now what you want to do is you just want to place the product where you want it. And even if it doesn't look perfect, what you'll do is you get a nice fluffy brush here, and then you can blend that guy out. So then you'll just grab it, and then you kind of do like you can do a windshield wiper motion if need be, or you can just grab it and just move the product so it's nice and blended out. And again, I'll have her open her eye for me. Looks good, but I think I want it just a little deeper. So I'm gonna go back with our pencil brush. Again, we're gonna touch our brown, and we'll touch our black. We'll knock off the excess, and we'll just deepen it just a little bit more. All right, now that I have that product laid, I'm going to again go with our fluffy brush. And I'm just going to hold the brush back far so I'm not pushing down really hard. And it's just a nice feather blend. There we go. So now you can see we have the light, the medium, and the dark. Going to open for me? There we go. And then here in a minute, we're going to go ahead and drag a little bit. So we'll grab a little bit here, knock off the excess, and then I'm going to have you look all the way up to the sky. And then we can even drag a little bit underneath the lash line here. And that'll give that nice sultry look as well. Okay, place the product. Use your fluffy brush. Look up. And then look down for me. And just make sure it meets nicely and seamlessly. There we go. Now you can see the difference between the eyes. This one's a little bit more smoky, and this one's a little bit more not smoky. It's a little just your daytime look. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other eye. So again, I'm gonna grab the brown and a little bit of the black. We're gonna knock off the excess. Oops, sorry. Can you close your eyes for me? Place it in the outer V, or the outer portion of the eye. Outer to 1/3 or 2/3. Probably 1/3. I know my math right here. Again, we'll get our fluffy brush. Blend that one out. And we're going to do just a little bit more. And if you want it just a little bit darker but not too dark, pick up more of the lighter color when you're smoking it out. Don't go straight for the black. You can always transition it. So I did a little bit more brown on this time. And keep it lower to the lash line. So if you keep it lower to the lash line, and then when you get your fluffy brush, you can move the product upwards to where you want it. And now we have that transition. So I'm gonna actually step in front of her for a second, have you look at me, close your eyes for me. All right, so you wanna make sure, again, the symmetry is right. You don't wanna have one 2/3 of the way and one 1/3 of the way. You wanna make sure that each eye is covered adequately. And then I'll have you look all the way to the sky for me again. There we go. And then we'll just add a little bit of this to the lower lash line. Again, then you'll get your fluffy brush here. And they have small detail brushes too that you can use for this section, but I'm just using this one because it has a little bit of that cranberry soul on it, so it can drag and meet those colors nicely. All right. So we've deepened the eyes, and now the next part I want to talk about is lashes. Okay, so I wear lashes every day. I'm very accustomed to lashes. Some people are not. There's a couple of different, well, not a couple, there's a lot of different types of lashes you can get from your drugstore to your beauty store to online. Know that when you are putting on lashes, you need to measure them to the shape of your eye or the size of your eye. Some lashes look different than other lashes, especially if you have a different shaped eye. You can go with a more full va-va-voom nighttime lashes, but people who are not used to lashes, this can be a little intimidating at first. So I do have some lashes here. These are sometimes what we use for glam looks. They're more of the long curly look here, but a lot of times too, you don't even really need that much. Sometimes you just need a little, you want to combine it with a little bit of your own lash. So I do have some of these that I like to use on a lot of my clients. These are what we call half lashes. And with the half lash, and notice I've used quite a bit of these because they're very popular. The half lash actually gives you enough lash or lift for you to feel comfortable, but it's not too much for it to weigh your eye down. So I think with Tina here, I think these ones will work perfectly on her. We'll try them out, and if we decide we want to bring a lash, we can do that route. But I think these are going to be the thing. So the biggest thing about lashes, now whenever you're using lashes for the first time, it is kind of hard to get them off of the container that it comes with. You'll notice sometimes if you pull too hard, you can actually pull all the hairs off the lash. You can distort the lash. So a trick that I like to do is I like to actually get the lash, bend the actual product or the casing that it comes in as much as you can, so it's just all lash. And I like to bend it all the way back, just like that. Well, just like that. And then I like to grab the hair and slowly just pull it off, just like that, so you don't distort the lash, nor do you tear the hairs off, because I've done that, and you probably will too. If you're beginning at lashes, you'll do it. And then it's nothing worse when you only have one pair. So again, what I like to do is I like to bend the product back, or the casing back. I pull the lash very slowly, and it'll pop right off for you. It does come with some adhesive already kind of attached to it because they have to get the lash to adhere to the packaging. Sometimes you can just pull that one right on off. Sometimes the adhesive is very noticeable, so it's very important to try to get as much of that clear glue off as possible. The good thing about these ones, there's not a whole lot of it. So in the case that you do have a lot of adhesive attached to the lash, you literally can just find it and you just rub it off nice and easy, and just be gentle. Take your time to do this part, because there's nothing worse, like I said, than ruining a pair of lashes whenever you only have one pair. Another thing you want to do is always have a good pair of scissors on hand, because whenever they put the lashes on the packaging, they leave little sections of the lashes that are not full of hair, or they're not meant to be stuck to the eye. And you know, sometimes whenever or I don't know if you've seen, sometimes when you have lashes on and they lift, like the inner corner comes off, the outer corner comes off, and you keep wondering, like, why won't it stick? Usually it's an extra little piece that the company puts onto the lash to adhere to the packaging that's not sticking to the eye. So what you want to do is, when you have a lash like this, you just want to cut off the very, very tip of each lash on both sides. So I don't know if you can see, but this one, it has like a little, let me see if I can angle this correctly, has like a little lip on it, You don't want that little piece on there. That's the piece that doesn't stick to the eye very well. You just snip it right on off, just the littlest bit. That little bit makes a huge difference though. It'll keep your eyelash from popping off. So you want to do that to both eyelashes. So again, just a little piece there. And I hope you guys are able to get that in this little piece here. And it's just literally just the tiniest little piece. You can barely even see it on my scissors, the tiniest little piece. But like I said, it makes a world of difference. Then what you want to do is you want to add your eyelash glue. Now with eyelash glue, you want to put enough on, but not too much on where it's going to pull your real eyelashes off when it's time to take them off. You want to use warm water to take them off, by the way, and then, like maybe a towel just to set them on there, and the adhesive will let go. But you want to put just a thin layer, and you want to let it sit for a good 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, you want it to get nice and tacky, because if you put it on right away, right when the glue is wet, it'll slip everywhere, it'll get in your eye. It's just a mess. So again, just put a nice thin layer. Make sure that the ends are well glued, because that's what you really want it to stick. And then we're actually just going to put these down for a second, and we're going to move on to the lip. And when we're done putting on a little bit more lip liner, those will be ready to go. Okay, so we're going to deepen your lip just a little bit, just because we're going from day to night. So I'm going to actually choose a little deeper color right now. Again, this is totally up to your preference. Some people really like deeper colors, some people don't. But for today's for today's example, we're going to actually deepen her lip. So here, I think we want to go, I'm actually going to go a little bit more mauve-y. We'll do a little bit of a color cocktail, as I like to call, on her lips as well. So we'll do these two. All right, so I have two different colors, and again, we're just going to follow the same shape of her lip like we did earlier. This one's a little bit more deeper, so it's a little bit more vibrant. Again, I'm going to go on this side here so I can look at this side. And again, the world is your oyster when it comes to the colors that you choose. Like I said, we're going to deepen it with a little bit of mauve. Again, be creative. Use different colors. Your skin, use your face as a nice color palette. You never know what you do or don't like until you try it. All right. And again, I'm just using a liner as a base, and then I'm actually going to go in with a deeper lip color. I don't like that one. Again, I have a whole bunch of colors to choose from, and I'm an indecisive person, and that's just a recipe for disaster. But I like colors, and I like to make people feel good, so I figure it out. So I'm going to put a little bit on the palette here. All right, and I'll get my handy dandy lip wand here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now again, if you want it a little bit more opaque, use that one again. You can sheer it out with lip balm, but if you want it to be like true to color, you don't have to do that. So again, here, I'll make sure I get that in a second. I do not want to step on that. All right. And this is just a little deeper red than we had. It's a little less cinnamony, more holiday vibes, I think. But if you have a favorite color, make sure you apply it that way as well. However, whatever color that you like on your lips, wear. Now rub your lips together for me just a little bit. And then you can use your concealer brush here. You doing all right? All right. Clean up anything that needs to be cleaned up, but it looks good to me right there. All right, I'm going to jump from the eyes right now, and then we're gonna go I'm gonna jump from the lips, and we're gonna go back to the eyes. Now another trick for eyelashes is I'm actually gonna have you just look at your lap for me. So just you have your head up and just kind of like hang your eyes down low. There we go, perfect. You wanna make sure you are making the band flexible. So when I say flexible, you want to bend it just like that, just so that, because our eyes aren't straight. Our eyes are curved. Everybody's eyes are shaped differently. Some people have more almond eyes. Some people have more round eyes. So you want to make sure that the band is curved so that it'll lay nicely with the eye. So I'm just going to nicely and gently put it on the eyelid. And then I always do the middle, and then I hear the top part, and then I hear the back part. Open your eye for me. Perfect. All right. And we're going to do the other side. So we're going to make the band flexible. Again, just by kind of giving a little workout there. All right. Look down at your lap. Perfect. And I'm going to do the middle. And then I do the top part and the base. I'm gonna make sure it looks good. Now again, just like, go ahead and look at me. Perfect, you can put your head up now. Oh, it looks great. Just like when you're doing your eyeliner as well, if you're doing your eyeliner on your eye and your hand is going down, you need to do your eyeliner with your hand going down on the other side. Same thing with lashes. If for my gals who've ever put on lashes and one lash is kind of up and the other one's kind of down, it's because your hands were not in the same position as you're applying them. So just kind of remember that. Whatever way I apply it the first way, you want your hand positioned on the second way as well. All right, so let me go ahead and I want to do one more thing. So for our bottom waterline, oh sure.
Yeah, she has a little bit of makeup on the side.
Oh, I see it, yeah, my bad, good job. Good eye, Felicia. Okay.
It just happened.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
And my name is Tina.
Felicia, I called you Tina? What did I call you?
You call me Lisa.
Oh, shit, my bad. Tina, if you edit that part out, thank you for doing that. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay.
You just met me.
Yeah, still. Okay. Come on, get makeup all over your face, calling you the wrong name.
It's all right. You would not believe how many people have called me Lisa.
That, and
It's
also,
really odd.
let me pick up this piece too. A little piece of lipstick fell, and that's the last thing you want to smear. Oh, this part. There we go. I think we're golden.
Alright, she looks good.
Look good. Okay. Look good? We're good?
You are good.
Okay. All right. What was I thinking? Okay. Lastly, the only thing that I want to do to enhance this look is we're going to put a little bit of eyeliner in her bottom waterline. Now this can tickle at first, it can feel weird, but the key is just to apply the pressure at the eyeliner, and then if we need to smudge it out some, we can do it afterwards. So what I like to do is I like to trick the eye, especially if I'm doing it on somebody else. So what I'm going to have you do is kind of turn your eyes the opposite direction of where I'm applying the makeup. So I'll have you look that way. There we go. So now she can't see it coming straight on, which is gonna make her try to protect her eyes. So with your pencil, you can just easily drag down and just give a nice coating on your waterline. You want to make sure the pencil is clean and has a good not super sharp, but a nice sharpness to it. And it's a creamy one. If you use a really dry eyeliner, it'll drag and it does not feel good. So one more time. Perfect. And I'll do the other side. So I'm gonna have you look the opposite direction. How's that feel? Feel okay? All right. Look at me. And then sometimes as well, since my model here, she has like more of an almond-shaped eyes, and she's more of a hooded. You don't want to make sure you don't go all the way in with the eyeliner. You can stop right where the pupil starts and do the outer part, and it'll give that open illusion. So now it's really open on the inner corner, and it's more smoky and warm on the outer corner. All right, so these are all to be sanitized. So I like to do a final look here. I like to get my handy dandy concealer brush, go through anything that needs any touch-ups. Everything looks good. I think I might add just a little bit more setting spray. Okay, okay. I think I might add a little bit more setting spray. But go through with your concealer brush, touch up anything that you see that needs to be touched up. Remember, get into everything. You want a nice, pretty blank canvas, or well-saturated canvas, I should say, that's evenly distributed. I'm going to use one of our, this is the brush that I put the contour powder on and the bronzer. Just give it one more nice touch. And last but not least, again, like I said, I think I'm going to add just a little bit more highlighter. And again, that's just a preference. Just a little bit. Just because it is more of a fall look. We are in our holiday season here. So there we are. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and spray her one more time with our setting spray. Because remember, this is how we lock it in. Make sure that it's sweat proof, humidity proof, smile proof. So go ahead and close. It's a little aggressive. There we go. And there we have it. We have our nice beat look. So we had our daytime look. We added just a few more steps to make it more of a nighttime full glam look by adding the contour, deepening the lips, darkening the outer V of the eye, and adding a nice lash. I want to give a big thanks to our model Tina for being beautiful and sitting with us while we do this demonstration. My name is Samantha, and thank you for watching From Chic to Beat. Until next time. Bam! I got it. Yeah, I was like, I got it. You look good. You look really good.
Thanks to you.
I was like, you look